Howdy, howdy. This is Brandy Zdan here, coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, as always. It's the 9th episode. Yeah, there's been 9 of these. It's fantastic. Tonight's guest is Tyler Bryant of Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. I'm so excited to talk to him tonight. And playing some Lanois right now because it's his birthday. Let me see. Here, Tyler is here. Let's get him on. Hope you guys are having a nice Sunday. It's raining in Nashville. It's been raining all day. We're about to go live right now.
Hey.
Hello. How's it going, my friend?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So where are we catching you on the road?
I am right outside of Flint, Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah, we're playing the Machine Shop tomorrow. So we have the day off today. And we've just been kind of exploring. I'm out here with my bandmate Graham.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys are just doing a little duo situation?
Yeah, man, it's we're doing pretty much all of the wrong things with our acoustics. We're both playing them through Fender Tweeds with distortion pedals, and it's very fun though. We're having a good time.
Yes, that's great. Nice.
How
man.
are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. Happy to be talking to you. Congrats on the new single.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
You as well.
Thank you. I saw that in your posting, you sort of emphasized that it's the first of a bunch of independent releases. Tell me about that. I'm curious.
Well, so we've been through multiple record deals and had some great experiences and had some not so great experiences, and just the way that the industry's been moving over the last few years, I feel like it's been propelling us towards this, where we get a little bit more control in one aspect, but then we're kind of like shackled by another. And so I know you and I have talked about this when we've run into each other about sort of how satisfying creatively it is to be able to record and make your own records. And I feel like we've been kind of making music at a pace that is faster than what most record labels feel comfortable putting out. And so we end up like sitting on stuff to the point where you lose the excitement to like go out and play it. So I think we just kind of would rather focus on feeding our fans as much as we can whenever we feel inspired to, rather than being on someone else's timeline.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I mean, you get to a place where you have that fan base and you can do it. You might as well do it. And keep those masters.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing is you go, wow, I did all of this and I didn't receive much help and I get this much of it. And it's just not, it's like, hold on a second. Who paid for the pizza? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get into some questions. First of all, I would assume that you probably have like a studio rig and a live rig. But maybe you don't. Maybe it's the same. But what's your go-to rig? Like if you were, let's just say you're gonna go do a session or go do a quick gig, like what is it that you take with you?
Oh, I would just take like probably a Fender Bassman. I mean, that works for me just about always, or a Fender Princeton would be great. You kind of can't go wrong. Lately I've been using a little 5-watt champ. It's just, I mean, I feel like if you have a good tube amp, it's hard to go wrong. I've got a couple of overdrive pedals and fuzz pedals that I love that I take with me everywhere. There's this pedal made by this guy in Germany. It's a company called Rodenberg, and it started out as a certain pedal that my guitar tech found like 7 years ago on a forum, and it's a double overdrive pedal. Okay. And I kind of like adopted it as my signature pedal because I loved it so much. So that's sort of like my desert island pedal that as long as I have that, I can kind of plug into whatever and do what I feel like I'm supposed to do.
Okay. So that's kind of what's in your chain. What else is all in your chain most of the time?
Oh man, it's
So many things.
yeah, not really. I mean, not really. I've got like it's normally a fuzz, a overdrive, a delay, a reverb, some
Mm-hmm.
sort of like octave, like a pog,
Mm-hmm.
a wah, and a tuner. I mean, it's just that. Sometimes I'll swap out the fuzz depending on the flavor of the week or whatever I'm inspired by in the studio. The studio almost always dictates what happens live. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's how it is for you. If you like. But it's normally like, oh, sorry, the air conditioner just kicked on. Amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, in the studio, I have like 4 or 5 different pedal boards just kind of laying around where it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, what colors do we want to paint with today?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's always kind of what I always, when I'm working with people, I'm like, what do you have there that I don't have that I can just have access to? It's
yeah,
the
what can we
best
play
thing to
with?
just have.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
you
have
know how it is.
every,
It's like you get a new sound, and then all of a sudden it's inspiring something that you weren't thinking before, and
yeah.
a pedal could give you the riff for a song, and or the riff then creates a melody, which creates an idea, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in that the tools do bring ideas.
They absolutely do. It's so true. But then there also, I find that there are times when if there is something you found on the road for a certain song, that's the thing you're gonna do, and you're gonna bring that in, and you're not gonna let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah,
Like,
man,
this is,
100%.
like there's battles to fight with the choices you make. But yeah, I kind of find that like lately it's been definitely studio dictating the road. Also bizarre to have a complete full record done that was not born on stage, and that is totally new to me. And I don't even I'm actually playing some of the songs for the first time ever to people tomorrow, and
Yeah.
that's just like the complete opposite way around.
Well, I think there's something really inspiring about that, though, because it forces you to figure out, how do I do this? I made it in the studio, but how do I pull it off live? And
Mm-hmm.
it's cool, especially if you're used to doing it the other way, where you work out the kinks, and it's like you kind of iron out the parts on the road, and then you go in
Yeah.
and record it. It's like doing it the opposite way. I feel like it's just a cool way to keep it fresh,
Yeah, it's true. And
and it'll probably end up pushing you.
yeah, it is already, I can tell. And just also feeling like I don't have to make everything fit into my set, It's like let's just make music to make the music,
Totally,
you
man.
know. But that's cool that you're doing a different setup out there currently. Like
Well, yeah.
are you finding that's pushing you? Like was that out of necessity
Well,
or
so the shakedown um, has been we're a unit, and
yeah,
so it's not like Caleb, our drummer, just had a son, a
right.
little boy, and we got offered to do this tour with Miles Kennedy, and I really wanted to do the tour, and Caleb just said, "Dude, my son will have just arrived. Like I can't
Yeah.
split." And I said,
Too soon.
I get it."
Yeah.
And so I kind of, I did what we do as musicians. It's like we have to find a way,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of was sitting there going, I could do it. I could go out with an acoustic guitar. And I called Caleb and I said, what if I did it? And I go out and kind of spread our message myself. And I said, I think I'm capable, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
could put together an interesting set that wouldn't be kumbaya, my lord. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and so I called Graham, my other bandmate, and said, like, what do you think? And he's like, well, I want to come. And so he came over that night and we started jamming, and we just kind of found a cool little thing that was fun, and
Mm-hmm.
we've been tweaking it every night, and it totally pushes us because there's not much space being filled other than the space that we're filling with our guitars, and I've got a kick
Mm-hmm.
drum,
Right.
but luckily we've had really great crowds that are kind of keeping time for us, and
Sweet.
it's been fun, man. It's just, I think it's great to get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Always. Yeah. Doing a different setup is always interesting. You kind of learn a little bit more about your playing and how yeah, it's learning experience. It's so good. Okay. Next question. Um, what's your favorite, your guitar ride or die?
Oh man, so I have this Strat, it's called Pinky 2.
Yes,
It's
right. Yes.
because Pinky 1 was stolen from me in 2012, I think, and
Yeah,
it was
really.
missing for 5.5 years, and I got it back. But in the meantime, like, so that was my number one, like, my desert island guitar, and
Okay.
when it went missing, I was devastated, and my
Mm.
parents took out a loan and like bought me one that was like almost identical,
Oh, wow.
and that's the one that I've been carrying around for, you know, the the most exciting parts of my career. And but yeah, so the original one was found in a used car dealership in Spokane, Washington. It came in and it was in the back of a trunk of a used car,
Oh, okay.
and was like, I guess, sold as $1,000 off of a down payment on a different car. And the owner took a picture of it, sent it to the guitar shop. The guitar shop bought it and sent it back to me. And so yeah, now I have two of like the most beautiful pink Strats ever. But yeah,
Wow.
I love them.
I'm so glad to hear that story. Wow, that's crazy. So this, which one goes with you?
Both, pretty
Really?
much. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I mean, right now they're both locked up in a gun safe at home. But
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
you start getting paranoid whenever your guitars go missing. So like when we go on the road, I literally will take them in the room with me every night. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't understand how bands don't do that. I
man,
mean, there's like, I mean, I understand if you're in a really big sort of touring situation, but still, you just gotta put that guitar on your back.
man, yeah. I was talking to this guitarist in Texas named Alan Haynes, and he's telling me that he had a guitar stolen out of his hotel room while he was in the hotel room.
Holy crap.
And I was like, that's next level.
Like,
I don't need that kind of
while he was
paranoia.
in there.
I don't need that kind of paranoia, dude.
No. Oh man. I mean, I even get paranoid when I'm just like on tour and parking the van to just go grab a bite somewhere, you know? Yeah.
Totally.
It's hard there.
So hey, what is your ride or die guitar?
Well, it's this telly that's back there. It's a custom telly, like parts telly that was made by a fellow in Texas named Greg Gamble.
Oh,
And it
cool.
was his first build. It was his first build. And he it was technically on loan to me. Um this is about 10 years ago. And on loan until I kind of told him like how maybe I'd want a certain custom telly at the time 10 years ago, what my tastes were. So he made me one, and it took a while, and I ended up kind of like not jiving with it
Yeah.
because I had fallen in love with this guitar, and it came with me all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guitar you just made is fantastic, but it's not this guitar.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it funny how that happens?
man, I didn't think that I have like a maple neck and maple fretboard on the one that was coming to me, and like the rosewood just worked out so well, and just
Yeah.
everything about the neck. Um and so to this day, still here.
Wow.
Thank you, Greg. I
How cool is that?
He won't sell it to me.
Yeah.
Um so I'm just going to take good care of it and be really grateful for every moment I have with it. But that really is, I mean, I actually have asked him in the past if we could just make another exact same guitar, but it won't be the same. Like,
Yeah. Well, but it has all your mojo on it. You know what I mean? It's like, and you kind of like, I know this is gonna sound like super cheesy, but I feel like you kind of become like traveling companions with your guitar.
you do.
It's
You
like,
like,
dude,
yeah.
you've been with me through the shittiest times. You know, you've been with me through the great times, and it's sort of like that one thing that's like always constant, where it's like, wow, you were here when we played for 3 people at that crappy pizza
Mhm.
joint in Chicago, and now we're playing a really great show. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's your tool,
It's just this like, it's kind of like a hug when you put the guitar on to go play the show. You know, it's this familiar.
Totally.
Wonderful thing. Yeah. There's a
Ma-
lot of other ones that have come into my life lately. And I mean, I started honestly when I was first touring around everywhere. I took a 62 Harmony Rocket all over the world with me,
Oh
which
man, I love
kind of,
those.
it's kind of surprising. And that thing still holds up.
Yep.
The neck is not totally fucked up. But it is a very interesting guitar. I didn't think I'd even be a telly player when the telly kind of came into my life. That wasn't, I was just all into those weird Silvertone harmony guitars. So,
Yeah.
but this is the thing that just is gonna be the workhorse, and
Yeah.
and like I'm not really a Strat player,
Right.
so this is my jam, and I play it with really heavy strings that are dead, so it's a really wide tone. It's not really twangy at all like a telly
Yeah.
is, so it just does the thing. Okay, thank you for asking, by the way. That's sweet.
Yeah, of course.
What are your top three guitar players? I know that's a hard question, but if you could grab them, if you can, if there even is top, if there's a top three, or
Oh man. Well, I will say that Jeff Beck would probably be number one for me. Like, he's just he's been a huge inspiration for me, and I love that you can get really aggressive playing with his stuff, or really soft, like almost I'm gonna fall asleep. This is so beautiful playing.
yeah.
So I'm a huge Jeff Beck fan. Um, I'm a huge. This is where it gets really tough. Um, Man, I'll have to say Albert King.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
Mm-hmm.
this record called Livewire Blues Power, and it's just like the way he bends and his vibrato and the way he falls off of stuff. It's just I'm obsessed with it. Um, and being from Texas, I was really into Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he was doing the Albert King licks, but he was doing them on the E string, and Albert King was doing them on the B string, and playing with his strings upside down. So he was actually pulling down rather than going up, and it was just a different thing that it's really
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to achieve, and it's something that I'm constantly trying to get the Albert King, the bend up, because it's more about like the bend than it is get the destination note. And
Right.
so,
Right.
um, and oh man, this is
Is
yeah.
Stevie? Is it Stevie? Is the third one Stevie? No.
Uh,
No.
no, I was gonna say Mike Campbell. Um,
Ah.
but the thing is, like, dude, like these would all change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stevie's like
Yeah.
there, Johnny Winter's there. I say Mike Campbell because I think as I've gotten a little older, I've just realized how crucial it is to have a guy like that that's playing to the song and coming up with
Mhm.
parts that they're so instrumental that the song, would suffer if they weren't there. Not in every case, but in a lot of the cases,
Yeah.
they're so musical. It's part of the song.
Absolutely. Yeah. That it's Are there three that you? So are there? I like someone when I interviewed. I don't even remember who it was now. They kind of put it into two segments of no, it was Ellen Angelico actually. Fantastic. Are you familiar with her work? She's so
I'm
great.
not.
Um, Killer guitar player in Nashville here. She put it into two categories where it's the influencers of guitar, like and the sort of people that don't exist anymore potentially as well. But
Right.
then also she said, what are your top three people that are like in your own community? And I thought that was a really interesting one.
Oh, wow.
Um, so does anybody come to mind for you? And this is also a way of people that are watching for them to sort of get hip to some other music that
Yeah.
might not know of.
Absolutely. So I feel like one of the most underrated guitar players I've ever heard is actually my brother-in-law, Mike Seal.
Mm.
He's an absolute freak. He plays for Jerry Douglas and John Hyatt,
Oh,
and
wow.
he's been out with like Sierra Hull and a bunch of people. But
Yeah.
he released this acoustic instrumental record called Dogwoods, I believe,
Okay.
and it's absolutely insane. Um, so that's just
Mike Seal. Okay.
yeah.
Sweet.
I think you would love that acoustic record. It's really cool, and
Yeah.
Someone that I'm always amazed by is Charlie Starr of Blackberry Smoke.
Oh yeah.
I think he's such a tasty player, and he's always like catering to the song, and you know that he's got this huge bag of tricks, and every now and then he'll pull one out, and then he's like, he steps back, and you're going, "Come on, man!" And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's got them all, but what a talented singer and songwriter. That's someone that, the more I hear him play, I'm like, yeah, that's, we're lucky to be able to come to your shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta like say, Rebecca and Megan from Larkin Poe are the killer guitar players, both of them. So, I love what they're doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. You kind of cut out there for a second. You did say Larkin Poe, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you cut out right when you were saying it, and I knew that you were going to say that. But yes,
Yeah,
they
no,
are
I'm really
absolutely
inspired by
incredible.
them. Can you hear me?
Do you find I'm always curious with I can hear you now. Yeah. I'm always curious when there's musician couples, like do you guys collaborate a lot and play or even just, play new stuff for each other?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We always play new stuff for each other, and we write songs over coffee.
That's great.
Rebecca and I do. We're
Yeah.
we're both really into like classic country music, and so if it's a pretty day or a rainy day or just a day, we normally will make up songs in the morning, or you know sometimes I'll
That's
ask her
great.
for advice on what I'm working on, or she'll come down and ask if I can record her doing something, and because I really geek out over the recording process. So
Yeah. So tell me about that. Are you starting to track stuff at home and do all the things?
yeah, we've done
Yeah.
the latest single was the first Shakedown song that I've engineered completely on my own. And it's just, I think during the pandemic when all the shows went away, I kind of started investing in the gear that I'd always wanted to get, and had
Mm-hmm.
been saying, oh, one of these days I'll get it, one of these days I'll get it, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just came to the realization that it's like, dude, if you're gonna do it, just do it,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's just kind of going back to the being independent. I mean, you know how it is as an artist, you're constantly going, how do I get this from A to B? And it always requires finding a studio, finding an engineer, finding a producer, and I've been kind of keeping a journal from all the great engineers we've worked with, whether it be Vance Powell or Andy Johns or Joel Hamilton, or just kind of Roger Nichols, um, and I just wanted to try, and
Yeah.
we did the Larkin Poe Kindred Spirits record at our house, and
Mm.
I just made a record with this artist Frankie Ballard, who's incredible. We did this lowdown gospel record,
Sweet.
and this and just like copious amounts of shakedown material. So
That's exciting. It's
yeah,
it's nice to like it what you just described, like the finding every record. You're like, what do I do? Where do I find this? What do I it's like you're putting the pieces of a puzzle together, and that's yeah, I feel like I've been doing that my whole adult life. And that's great because like you said, you work with the people that you are taking everything in. Like
yeah.
if you're doing it right, you're listening to those people that know more than you from day one.
And there's always somebody who knows more than
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
someone to be
Totally.
inspired by, and different work. Everyone has a different workflow, and so whenever Rebecca asked me if I would help her engineer the Kindred Spirits record, I was really excited about it, but I was also really nervous as to how I would feel, because it was very clear, like, you're not producing it, you're not there, and so basically if she had a question or something, I would just have to kind of keep my mouth shut, because she's a brilliant producer, and is able to figure out what she needs, and doesn't need my advice. If she really wanted it, then she would tell me, you know.
Right.
But I just
Right.
even being in the room, moving microphones around, and then sitting back and hearing a moment immortalized come back at you, I was going, shit, man, I get just as much joy from this as I do from walking on stage and playing with people. It's just it's a different thing. And I was like, how do I do more of this? How can I do this every day that I'm not touring? You
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah, it's true. Like there is, I feel like there is that moment, that like turning point for all of us who end up getting into the other side of things.
yeah, I would love to hear your story at some point. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know that you've been wearing a lot of hats with your music as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I can totally relate with that. Like I am getting the same thing from sitting down and tracking and hearing it come back as I am on stage. And
Yeah.
of course it's different, but like there is a satisfaction there, and there's something it's somehow sort of a little deeper maybe when you know that you've kind of done it yourself too. It's like, oh, I just got that sound, and that's so
Yeah.
rad. Like I used all the things I learned to get this one sound or whatever, or like worked hard to get it, or like had to
Yeah.
troubleshoot just whatever it was.
Oh man. Yeah, of course.
It's really satisfying and fulfilling. Yeah. I don't know. The road, I don't know about the road for me anymore, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. Oh
Like
man,
it,
I've missed the road so much, but I've been like expanding on my mobile rig. It's called the
mm-hmm,
Idea Farm, and it's so that I can come into hotel rooms and set up and still be able to open Pro Tools sessions and like go to my little world, because I think that it's become a place for me where it's like it's provided an extra sense of purpose almost, to where I can be
mm-hmm,
working on my music but also on other people's music, and that's something I really enjoy doing, because it's a different responsibility. There's still
mm-hmm.
responsibility, obviously, but
That's a
it's cool.
great that's a great way to put it.
It's cool to be an outsider. You know,
Mm-hmm,
it's like an outsider trying to get in, almost,
mm-hmm.
rather than an insider who can't get out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I like that. So I'm looking down at my questions here, and you have inadvertently answered a bunch through other questions, which is fantastic. I love when that happens. Um, I'd love to know what you are currently listening to.
mm. So just a second ago, Graham and we were driving and we were listening to Band of Heathens.
Oh yeah, of course.
Man, they're great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know why I haven't been hip to them sooner. They're really cool.
yeah. They have quite a catalog out, don't they? Like
Yeah,
it's
they do.
many, many, many records.
Yeah.
Yeah, they Gordy uh Gordy from the Heathens actually ended up buying a studio, or kind of buying the house that was a studio of the late George Reef,
Oh wow.
um, in Texas, in Austin, and he's been working out of there, called the Finishing School,
Cool.
um, doing some really great work out of there. That's great. Yeah, the Heathens are so wonderful. There was
Yeah.
a question that came in that I think something they said, would you work with local Nashville musicians when we were talking about recording?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as long as it was like something I felt like I was really into, you know. That's the thing, is it's like if you're gonna really like sink your time into something, I feel like you have to be really passionate about it, or feel like you can bring something to the table. You know, there's been
Mm-hmm.
a few people that have asked me to work with them, and then they play me their demos, and it's like, why? It sounds wonderful. What do you need me for? And I think that's a thing that, I don't know if you've ever dealt with this as an artist. You make something that's fully realized, and then you play it for someone hoping that they will almost tell you, it could be more. It could be more, when it already is what it's going to be. You know, I feel like that's a thing that a lot of younger artists do. I know I've done it a million times, going, okay, this is really great, and everyone's excited about it. And once we get Andy Johns to record it, it's gonna be the shit, man. You know, and then it's like you end up not beating the first thing. So,
Right. Yeah.
uh, I'm not trying to talk myself out of work, but
Yeah, it's got to be the right fit. Absolutely. I mean, when you, at least I've found, and I think it happens a lot. Producers almost act as, I mean, they're therapists. They're like helping shape a sound, like create something that maybe like help form the vision. Like it's a very important job.
yeah, the facilitating the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you are overseeing the whole project, and there's like a wonderful trust that has to be built, and yeah, it's pretty great. I think that might have been your dad. He said, "Cut your hair."
Most definitely my dad. Something my dad would say.
Oh, that's great. Hello, Dad.
Hey, Dad. That's so funny.
Okay, so to end it off today, I would love to hear what your favorite guitar moment is. And it could be yours or it could be something you witnessed, but just whatever comes to mind as your favorite moment.
Oh man. Gosh. Brandy, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say the thing that comes to my mind right now is the intro to "It's My Own Fault," the BB King song.
Okay.
I just love that.
Yeah.
There's actually two that come to mind. That would be like one of the guitar moments that I constantly go back to on records based on how tasteful and just perfect it is. It's melodic. It's not too much. It's not too little. And then a live moment that I was just like knocked over by. Um, I'd have to. There's this Jeff Beck song called "Pull It,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's off of one of his latest records. And it's one of the reasons I'm so obsessed with Jeff Beck is that he's constantly like he's in his, maybe mid 70s now, and he's still like trying to like innovate and what he is, and he never like stagnates with his playing. And he came up with this like electronic crazy song called "Pull It," and I went and watched him in Nashville a couple years ago, and Vinny Colaiuta's on drums, and he starts it, and the song is and it's like a synthesizer with the
Nice.
guitar. And when it kicked in, it was the most almost offensive thing I'd ever heard. It was just so much. And I thought, dude, you're in your 70s and you just gave me this reaction. Like, that's unbelievable. Like, I want to be able to do that.
Yes.
So that's a moment that I think about very often, because I was sitting there with Roger Allen Nichols, who's a producer and engineer that I love, and he was like, and Mike Seal, who's a guitar player that it's like one of those dudes that you put your guitar down whenever he picks one up, and everyone was just going,
Yeah.
you did that with one string in your fingers,
Dang.
I
That's
love it.
fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. Man, I mean, when I was introing the show here, I was speaking of how it's Daniel Lanois's birthday, and I was thinking, man, if I could be that fucking awesome and cool and innovative in my 70s,
Yep.
then great.
Man, so I was actually just talking with Miles Kennedy about this, because we're both big Chris Whitley fans. Have you ever gotten into Chris Whitley?
Not really. Not really got into.
So there's this record called Big Sky Country that Daniel Lanois he produced for Chris, and it's
Oh yeah,
an
I totally
unbelievable
know.
record.
Yeah, super cool. Absolutely.
That was how I got into Daniel Lanois. I was like, whoa, what is this?
Nice, nice. And then I guess he ended up working with, was it Chris's daughter as
Yeah.
well? Yeah, it's very cool. But yes, I mean, if we will be blessed in our lives if we can still be doing interesting things when we're decades and decades and decades older. It's
We just
wonderful.
have to keep it interesting for ourselves and
It's
and
true.
stay excited about it.
Is there is there one guitar moment for you on stage that you can remember that was like just out of this world, that you think of off the top of your head, or someone that was on stage with you? Curious.
There are a couple moments in shakedown shows where I kind of am able to, like, I have to remind myself to breathe because I just will stop. And that's one is in this song called Couldn't See the Fire. There's this big outro solo, and the band is like, I feel like it's like being tied to the, you know, front of a freight train that's going up a mountain. And it's like, okay, how do I keep going? And
yeah,
there have been certain nights where that moment has been a lot, you know, to be part of. And I love that. And there's a song called The Wayside that has kind of been a staple for us in our show. And that's another moment where it's just, I'm able to, on good nights, to completely just be there and kind of like go back to that place when I was like 14 years old before school, listening to Albert King's Live Wire Blues Power, and get that feeling almost of like, I live for this, you know. I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted. And so every now and then, a good night, I'll have those moments, you know. And I think that the goal is to like work towards being able to have them every night. And,
yeah, it's true. I mean, that's like the greatest thing we can do for our audience is try to get there, right?
yeah,
Like try
absolutely.
to do that, because when you're starting to phone it in, go through the motions, that's when it's no fun.
No way, man. Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
But you've got to be just, and I mean, I think that's like even when it comes to like making mistakes, I would rather hear a guitar player make mistakes than play it safe, you know? It's like, I'd rather hear somebody that's just going for it than.
Yeah, it's true.
So.
It's true.
Yeah.
I need to do that more.
Oh, man.
I need to
go
more. I'm such a guitar player that, especially when I'm backing up people, you know, and I'm a hired gun, like I rehearse the shit out of stuff, and then I just like, I like to be super consistent for the people I'm working for.
Right.
You know.
Man. Yeah.
And it kind of works that way in like the certain genres I've played for people in, but you know, it's like just a little bit, just like go there a little bit more. It'd be a good thing to do. But thank you so much for spending some time talking about guitars, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing, I will just like to say that the music video for The Protector is so sick.
Oh, thank you.
We I woke up the morning that it came out and checked it out, and then I showed it to Rebecca, and I think we probably listened to it like 6 or 7 times that day.
Oh, so, nice.
It's so cool, man.
Thank you.
I love how it's like rocking, but it's chill. It coasts, and you're not like, but it doesn't feel like sissy or like, you know.
Yeah, it never
cool.
ever like goes there. It just keeps flowing.
I love it. It coasts along. It's great.
Yeah, man, had fun time assembling all those silver tones and harmony guitars. You know,
I love it, man.
My first loves right there. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much again, and be safe out there. And
thank you.
I hope to run into you in town soon.
Absolutely. Let's make a jam sometime.
Yes, absolutely. We live close to each other. We gotta.
I know. Come on, let's do it.
Gotta do the deal.
I got a couple cool harmonies at home. We can crank them up.
Awesome, man. Okay, you be safe out there. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, see you, Brandy. Bye.
Bye-bye.